Raise your hand if you wrote always. Sometimes? Never. The answer is always.
So then that must mean...
Julian, read number 1 for us, please.
Two functions are always equivalent if their algebraic representations are the same.
Okay, so again, I told you guys it might help to make up some numbers, so something like this. This is a question we've been kind of asking you. Are these two equivalent? Are they the same? This is algebraically, just has a bunch of numbers and x's. And if you distribute, what do you get? 2x plus 8. So class, are those equal? So they're algebraic representations if they're the same. Again, although this one has a parentheses and that one's an 8. Once you simplify it, they're the same. The answer is always. Number 2. Diana. Can you read that for us, please? And then fill in the blank. Your answer? She says never. Raise your hand if you got never. Okay. Let's say we do, again, y equals 2x plus 1. Y equals x squared plus 1. Let's say you put in x equals 0 as your input. That means every x value you're going to put in what?
It's going to be 1.
You're going to put in 0. Let's do that together. Y times 2 times 0 plus 1. Class, 2 times 0?
0.
And 0 plus 1?
1.
1. So our output is 1 in this problem. And then if you do the same thing over here, y equals 0 squared plus 1. 0 squared is?
0.
0 plus 1 is? 1. So two functions. These are two different type of functions. Class, what type of function is this? What function family? Linear, correct, because it's x and y are to the first power. This one over here is quadratic because it's squared. So you might be thinking the answer is always, but what happens if you put in something like 3? 2 times 3 is?
6.
And 6 plus 1 is?
7.
Put it over here. 3 squared is?
9.
And 9 plus 1 is?
10.
So do you always get the same
No.
output? The answer is sometimes. You learned this in Math 4. What you're doing here is you're trying to find a counter example. Alright, let's look at number 3. Dylan, read for us number 3.
Two functions are equivalent if the graphical representations are the same.
Your answer? The answer is always. Let me show you guys a hint. Copy this down. Alright, if you graph y equals x, that's a linear, and your graph looks like this in quadrant 1. It's just a straight line. And then in maybe in Math 3, you learned about y equals absolute value of x. Does anyone know what that graph looks like? Well, it also looks like a straight line in quadrant 1. But if you do all of the quadrants, class, what does the Q stand for? Quadrants. your line looks like this for linear, and this is the one on the quiz, this graph looks like a V. So these are not linears. This one is a linear. This one is not. This is an absolute value function. Two functions are always equivalent if the graphical representations. So we would not say these are not equal, not equivalent, not the same, not twins. Okay? Why? Because if you actually look at all the quadrants, this is what it would look like. Okay?